Welcome. We'll get started shortly. Before we begin, here's how to earn continuing professional education credit for attending this session. There are no polling questions or attendance checks. Instead, you will demonstrate your knowledge by taking a brief multiple-choice quiz using the Earmark app. Visit earmark.app in your web browser. You can also download the mobile app by scanning the QR code on the screen. Log in, or if you're new, create your free account. Be sure to use a valid email address because that's where we'll send your course completion certificates. From the home screen, scroll down to find the course. You can also tap the magnifying glass icon to search for the course. Tap on the course artwork, then the Enroll button. On the Course tab, you'll find the recording and quiz questions. Complete the quiz to earn your CPE certificate. It takes us a few days to create the course on the app, so if you are attending this session live, please wait a few days. We'll email you a link to the course when it is ready. If you have questions or need help, email us at support@earmarkcpe.com. And now, on to the event. Hello, everyone. It's time to buckle up, accountants. It's another Earmark Expo where we're taking the latest accounting tech for a test drive. Here's how it works. We're about to floor it with a live demo of a game-changing app. I'm Blake Oliver, joined by David Leary. He and I are in the driver's seat, putting this app through its paces, and we're going to ask the tough questions every accountant wants to know the answers to. And guess what? You're along for the ride. We want you, our live audience, to help us navigate. Ask your own questions in the chat, and we will highlight them for Alex to answer. This is your chance to see cutting-edge accounting tech in action, get your questions answered in real time, and gain insights that could transform your practice. So take a seat, and let's roll with today's Earmark Expo.
So, Blake, about a decade ago, I remember I had an argument with somebody who I won't name who this somebody is in the accounting industry, and I insisted that a bill should never be entered in the accounting system until it's approved. A lot of apps, a lot of bill apps were like, and AP apps were just putting bills in the accounting system and then removing them if they were not approved. And I always thought that was crazy. Like if the bill's not real or not a valid bill, don't put it in the accounting system at all. Well, today's app, ApprovalMax, solves that, amongst other things, and it'll approve the bill before you put it in the accounting system, which maybe I'm a purist, I don't know, like a bookkeeping purist, but like I don't want stuff in the accounting system that shouldn't be in the accounting system, and ApprovalMax is something that can help with that.
And you're right, David. And the reason you're right is that when generally when bills get entered into, say, like QuickBooks, they immediately affect the general ledger. And so
Yes.
You've got this liability, you've got a payable, and if the bill hasn't been approved, that may not be true. That may not be accurate. And so, yeah, I'm really interested to talk to Alex today and see how ApprovalMax improves on this situation or how you deal with it, because it is tricky how to deal with these approvals and when stuff hits the GL and all that. So, Alex, welcome. Great to have you with us. And I'd love to start by asking, what was it for ApprovalMax that what is the reason in your mind that ApprovalMax needs to be an option for us?
Sure. Thank you, Blake. Thank you, David, for having me here. Really appreciate it. And maybe to start with, why it's all happened and why would someone, select ApprovalMax for their AP process? We ourselves, many years ago, were a very small team and we were a growing business. And ourselves, we've noticed there is a big challenge. When you are growing, you're kind of in between many, many different wildfires. And you need to deal with the staff training, you need to deal with hiring processes, you need to deal with the finances. And if you don't have efficient processes in place, it will quickly become, a whole bottleneck of the process, because lots of potential fraud can slip through the cracks. You need to know what your cash flow looks like. And when you're dealing with the finances, well, you need to know what is happening actually. You need to make sure that all of the processes are built in on top, and when you're hiring more people, that it's all being growing alongside with you and alongside with your business. So that's where it all came from.
And if I remember correctly, ApprovalMax came out of the Australian region, and at first you were just a zero-only app. Is that correct? Like that's some of the history on that?
Yeah, that is correct. So that was actually 10 years ago in 2016. Initially, we were just zero connected. But then later, year after, in 2017, we've connected with QuickBooks Online. And now we're serving not only Xero and QuickBooks Online. Some of our customers, they outgrew Xero, they outgrew QuickBooks Online, and they went to more mid-market, like ERP systems like Oracle NetSuite. So we've made integration with Oracle NetSuite because our customers love the ApprovalMax so much. They never wanted to leave the platform. They wanted to take it with them to the mid-market.
So the market at the time, QuickBooks had no approvals whatsoever. I think Xero, Blake, did Xero at one time you put a bill in and there was a button that said approved to be paid, like a checkbox on a bill?
It's still the same. You still have just one button called approve. And the only way you can deal with your approval process, if you're not adding any approval automation piece, would be inviting all of your users into Xero and just allowing them to see all the documents and just allowing them to approve all of these documents. That's not very sustainable. But to be frank here, Xero was built initially just for these smaller businesses, maybe moms and pops businesses, smaller businesses with small teams. But even for the small teams, you still require a bit more sophisticated approvals rather than just one single button.
Makes sense. So you want to jump in? Show us?
Absolutely. All right, let me change to the screen. Straight away, from once you've created your account, you will be presented with the main work frame. That's where you decide which processes you would like to automate. So here I'm showing that for Xero, but later I will also show that to you on QuickBooks Online and Oracle NetSuite. The user interface and the user experience will remain the same. It's just a matter of what type of processes and what type of workflows are available for each and every integration. So here what we can see, we can cover both on accounts payable and account receivable side. So you will find access to your purchase order workflow, your bill workflow, your credit note workflows, different batch payment workflows, depending on what type of maybe third-party solution you're using, or if you're using internal tools, or if you just want to create batches. But also we're covering you on account receivable side. So you can create your quotes, submit them and send them to your customers, then convert them into the sales invoices and raise account receivable credit notes. All of these different workflows are available for you at the same time within the same single screen.
Well, I didn't know you guys were doing accounts receivable workflows too now.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, it's been for a while now, but we've just recently expanded that list. So previously, we could only handle sales invoices, but now within our Xero integration, we can also handle quotes and AR credit notes. And you can initiate the process of both AP and AR within ApprovalMax. So something that you mentioned at the very beginning, that it's kind of weird to think that some people are creating their bills or maybe sales invoices directly in the GL, though they might not be fully approved. So ApprovalMax solves that, where you would probably want, and a lot of our customers would be raising all of these requests within ApprovalMax first, running through the approval cycle, and only once it's been approved by all the team members who are required for that request, only then it will hit your general ledger. So what we're seeing here, if we'll decide to dig into the workflow itself, I won't be, of course, showing you all of the workflows that are available here. There is no need for that. The beauty of ApprovalMax, that the user interface across the board, across all of these workflows, is exactly the same. So once you'll understand the way it works for one of these workflows, you pretty much know the way it works for every other workflow here on the list. So if we'll take a look inside, every workflow consists out of three major elements. Left-hand side, these are all the different ways how you're going to create your bills or maybe purchase orders or credit notes. So there are multiple ways and different customers have different needs. Some already prefer to use maybe Hopdog built into Xero, or they are just manually creating their bills in Xero. That's their preferred way of raising these bills. Totally fine, you can still do that. All you would need to do is just to set your bills into await and approval status, and we will automatically bring it on board. So have a bi-directional sync between ApprovalMax and Xero. You don't need to export any data. You don't need to import any data. It's all being done automatically on the background. However, there are better ways for you to handle your requests. You can initiate the process within ApprovalMax. We have our built-in OCR solution called ApprovalMax Capture. So you can just either drag and drop all of your bills or purchase orders, and it will automatically extract all of your data. Or you can email your bills into ApprovalMax. Or if you're, let's say, if you're on the go, you can download our mobile app. It's available for both iOS and Android. You can just simply snap a photo of a bill. Maybe if you're in the hotel lobby, you need to submit your invoice to the finance team. You can easily do that on the go, and it will automatically extract the data for you.
So my bills could start from three places. I pull it from the accounting system. I upload it or email it or use the mobile app. That's how I get bills into ApprovalMax.
That is correct. Yeah,
Got it.
that is correct. But then when we move to the middle side of the screen, that's where all the magic happens. So beauty of ApprovalMax, that when we're talking about the design of the app, usually it should be for the customer facing role. It should be very, very simple to use the app. So you should be able just to log into your account and straight away see what's awaiting your approval, and you just see all the required information. But on the back of it, on the back end of the application, it should be a very complex technology where you will be able to create workflows of pretty much any complexity. You might have multi-tiered approval workflows. You might have different conditions on how you would like to process your bills or purchase orders. And ApprovalMax allows you to create these very complex multi-step and multi-tiered workflows. So just to prove my words and show you how easy is that to build these even very complex workflows, in my example here, I have 3 approval steps where I have regional managers, legal department, and my CFO and CEO step. In case I need to add more approval steps, there is really no limitation on that. All you would need to do is just to click on plus step sign, and that will create an approval step for you. Then, since you have a list of all of your users, there is no need for you to give them access to your Xero or QPO file. They can fully operate just within ApprovalMax. Send invitation to whoever need to have access to ApprovalMax, and then just select for each and every approval step where they should belong to. But the main part happens if we'll click on this table icon. It will take us to the approval matrix. That's the engine of ApprovalMax, I would say. Every column that we're seeing here, it's the different data points from our Xero or our QBO or NetSuite files. So it's the list of our suppliers, it's the list of our tracking categories, it's the list of our account codes, items, taxes, and so on and so forth, plus the amount and the requester. And with that, user by user, you can decide on a very granular level what exactly they can see and what exactly they can approve. So let's say for Chris, I will allow him to only approve bills that are between 1,000 and 3,000 pounds, and only if it belongs to the region, let's say North. So I will be doing that for every person from my team, for every approver. And once it's all done, all I would need to do is just to update the workflow or activate the workflow, and it's now set to go. So you can make very complex workflows in just minutes. You don't need to pay any implementation fees. You don't need to hire any implementation providers. You can actually do it all yourself, and it will take you less than a day to build that workflow. Now, once it's done, once we build the workflow, once we're ready to submit something for approval, you will have your left-hand side main menu. That's where you can raise your requests. That's where you can see which requests are awaiting your approval, which requests are awaiting your review. You will find all of these different folders under the same place. So let's say I'm going to raise a bill. So I am one of the requesters here. I can create a new bill. I will find there is a plus sign right next to that request. It will take me to the bill creation form straight away. And if you are familiar with Xero or if you're familiar with QuickBooks Online, you would see that all of the forms, all of the fields that are shown to you here is exactly the same as you would see that in your accounting system. So we're mimicking that option. We're mimicking the same structure of your accounting system. But the main difference here, that not only you can, of course, provide all of these details yourself manually. If you're just like me and you don't like manual labor and you would like to automate things as much as possible, you'll be simply using our built-in OCR solution called ApprovalMax Capture. So take an invoice that you would like us to extract. Let's say I've got this invoice from ABC Furniture. So let me zoom in a little bit. So you would see that I have 3 line items here. It came from ABC Furniture. I have the date, though I'm missing the due date. So if I'll confirm my choice without doing much, I can take a sip of water. It will extract the data for me, including all of the line items. And here is the catch. You might be surprised that for some reason I have the delivery and I have new tools in here. So we have 2 different ways how you can deal with the data that is coming or extracting from the bills. One way would be that we have a machine learning built into the system. So whenever you are submitting something for extraction, you will apply, let's say, a region, maybe North, and we will learn from the previous interaction for you. But the other way, let me take a step back in here. The other way, you can make a precise coding for each and every supplier. So if I'll open my contact details here and I'll open ABC Furniture, you can decide maybe on the percentage level that 10% of the amount that is coming from that bill should be reallocated towards the delivery. And I know exact example from one of our customers who is doing exactly that. And 90% of the amount should be applied to the new tools.
So when you uploaded the bill and it scanned it just a second ago, and it was splitting it off what was this rule you had set up on the
Exactly.
Vendor.
On top of that, sometimes you might want to go even deeper than that. Let's say you are receiving bills from Amazon. You might have 50, 100 different line items. Some of them might be or should be coded to different account codes. So machine learning sometimes might not know about all of these different details. And you can decide as a conditional coding that if there is some specific number, or maybe if there is some specific word contained in the description, like in my case, let's say sofa, then such request should be automatically coded to the account code general expenses and the region north. So we can go even on that kind of a level when we are extracting data from our bills. That makes it so much easier when you have multiple suppliers, when you have so many different rules, when you have all of the incoming bills from different vendors, that you can just simply create all of the automation at the very, very beginning of the process when you're just starting your account, when you're starting your trial, and then it will be doing all the processes for you. And it works exactly the same for Xero, for QBO, and for NetSuite. From the user perspective on the other side, it's pretty much all comes to one single screen. It's called Requires My Approval. That's the same screen as you would see if you'll decide to make all of your approvals via our mobile app. It will be the same screen if you'll decide to make your approvals via Slack. So we have Slack integration. And basically this screen, it's the all-in-one place for all the requests that are awaiting your approval. So you as a user, you as an approver, you might have different types of requests across different organizations. Rather than going into each and every company, selecting what exactly you would like to see, Requires My Approval all will just show you all the details and all the requests that are awaiting your approval. And you can quickly straight away see what's awaiting here, what details behind that bill. So let's say I've got this bill from ABC Furniture. It came for the company ApprovalMax test org. I can straight away see details about the line items. I can straight away see the original attachment when I compare one thing to another, making sure that it's all fine. Here on the top of the request, that is one great thing about ApprovalMax, that we have these additional layers of security. We are showing you if there is any bill duplicates. So in my case, I have around 5 different requests that looks quite the same. So maybe that's an indication for me that I should reject such bill. But in our case, for the sake of our example, I will continue. I'm going to approve this bill anyway. If I'll scroll down, I will find there is a budget. So that's a great thing for maybe some of our customers who are in construction or maybe in the entertainment, especially in the construction where you're managing multiple projects. You can just create your budgets once in Xero or in QBO or in NetSuite. And then within ApprovalMax, we have a special feature called the budget check-in. All you would need to do is just to click on pull the budgets from the GL. And now whenever you're raising your requests, whenever you're approving these requests, it will show you the details about the budget and how do they compare against the request, against the bills or purchase orders when you're making that approval.
That makes a lot of sense, because why do you want to, if a bill's going to put a project over budget, you don't want to approve it after you've already paid the bill and it's in the GL. This makes a lot of sense.
Exactly. And of course, sometimes it might be that you don't have a budget for that specific month, but maybe you would like to reallocate some of the budget maybe from the upcoming month. So you can always just click on the budget itself and it will show you details, not only for the full period of time. Well, in my case, I'm showing you just for June, but let's say this one, or maybe something else, let's say overall budget. Yeah, this one is a good example. So and you can actually, by the way, show that to your users, how much into the future they can see the budget. So then they will be able to see what was the overall budget for the full period of time, what's the remaining budget for that date, how many bills and purchase orders you've already approved, how many of them are on approval, and you can also see that on month-by-month expenditure. So maybe if in April I've spent just a little bit of my budget, then maybe I can just reallocate the budget to that month. Also, for additional control for all of these customers, especially if we're talking about the construction, when you're raising and when you're working with different projects, you might be raising purchase orders at the very beginning of your project, and you still need to keep control over your expenditure. So you need to know what exactly you've ordered at some point of time in the past against the bill that you're receiving right now from your vendors. And ApprovalMax allows you to perform bill to PO matching quite easily. So you have either one-click match, if we're noticing that there is a purchase order that looks quite the same to your bill, if there is an exact match in terms of the amount, or it's very similar, you can just click on match entire bill. Now it's done. Or if you have a partial matching, let's say if you have one large PO for many line items, and now you're receiving tens or maybe 20 different bills from the same supplier, you can match them all against the original PO and really see what's your remaining balance looks like, if you still have any line items left. So all of those things can be controlled within ApprovalMax. And all of that is happening within the same screen across the board. So you can communicate between your team members. You can perform all of these different operations. Everything is fully audited. So if you're...
So there's communication in context of the bill I'm talking about. We don't have to like start a Slack conversation or Microsoft Teams conversation and link back to ApprovalMax. The conversations are in context of the bill or the purchase order I'm speaking about.
Exactly. So if I want to know exactly about this bill, rather than just sending an email to a random person from my team, I can just use the add symbol, select who I would like to mention, let's say Alex Pilgrim. Please take a look. So now he will be involved to the process and only to that specific request, rather than just randomly, sending links, which might not be very secure, and also just to keep the communication within the same place. And another great thing, especially for the customers who are dealing with the governments or who are very heavy in terms of the audit checks and the compliance, every single step of the process, no matter if you're changing the request or if you're changing the workflow or if you're making any change within the comments or maybe to the matching, all of that is fully documented, not only here within the bottom of the screen within our audit trail, but also when you are fully approving the document, we will automatically generate an audit report showing you a full cycle of approvals, showing you how many users been involved in the approval process, who made an approval decision, when they've made it and why they've made it. And these audit reports are available not only within ApprovalMax, but also in your GL system. So if later on you want to keep track of what is going on, you need to provide these details to your auditors, you can easily do that within just one single click.
Okay, so can you show us the approval for this one specific bill after you approve it?
Sure,
like
absolutely.
What this report would look like. Okay, so you approved a bill for $500. It was approved by just 2 cents bill. I'm trying to.
So let's say this bill that I previously approved, it is now being synced with Xero. So you will find an open in Xero link, which will lead you to that request in Xero. But also you will find there is an open audit report. So these audit reports will show you the details about where the request came from, who submitted that request. So let's say if I've initiated the process from ApprovalMax, it will be showing to me that it's been submitted by Alex Keselman. Which company is that, when it's been generated, and it will show me the approval log showing who exactly made an approval decision, why and when. And of course,
it's just a PDF, is that correct?
That is correct, yeah, that is correct. So that's the PDF available both here and in Xero.
So you attach it to the transaction in Xero
that is correct.
QuickBooks. Understand, makes sense now.
Yeah. So you have not only one initial transaction, so let's say that you've attached during the bill creation, the initial receipt, but also you will find there is 2 attachments. One of them would be the audit report.
So then if I'm in Xero or QuickBooks, I don't have to leave to like read the history of the approval process.
Correct. So yeah, that's in a nutshell the way it works. So that's the core product. But of course, there are so many additional layers in here. So for instance, if we're talking about accountancy or bookkeeping practices, they might want to manage their client within the same single place, and they want to see what is going on, how many requests are awaiting to be approved, how many requests are waiting to be reviewed, what's the status of the connection, if there is any issues with the subscription. So we are providing different tools to our partners, to our accountants. And first of all, you can straight away see that from the top of the screen. It's called the organizational dashboard. This dashboard is just a higher level view over all of the companies that you have under your account, because you can manage multiple accounts. You can manage multiple organizations within the same account. And here you would straight away see which organizations you have under your account, how many requests you have on approval, how many of them are on review. So for instance, in case you maybe received your bills from Xero, you've noticed there is a mistake, you would like to change things on the fly, you can do that within ApprovalMax. We have a special feature just for that. There is also a column showing you how many requests are awaiting your approval. So if you are involved in the approval process in many companies, sometimes it might get confusing. You might want to know what is going on across all of your organizations. It will show you the high-level overview of that. So let's say here I have a subsidiary, One US California. That is my NetSuite organization. And I can straight away see that out of 138 requests that are on approval, 112 are awaiting my approval. So maybe I should log in, maybe I should go into that company and approve all of these bills or purchase orders or whatever that is. And of course, it's just showing me what subscription level I have, what's the status of the connection. So some of these companies are being disconnected. So then I can go ahead, maybe contact owner, Matt Leary, hey, please reconnect your company if I'm in a practice, or maybe I can change some additional settings. So it's just showing me overview of what is going on within my account.
And this would be basically all my clients would be listed here.
Correct, yeah. And by the way, speaking of these clients, speaking of how do we support accountants or maybe bookkeepers, we have if you're familiar with Xero, you know that there is XPM, Xero Practice Management, and we are connecting to that. So you can easily, within our practice staff, connect your XPM, and that will automatically bring your staff members. So then you won't need to manually add them all in here into ApprovalMax, or you won't need to add all of your clients. It could be all done automatically if you'll just connect that to XPM.
So beyond just bringing over data about bills and vendors and customers, you're sucking in the users and their roles that you might have in Xero's practice management.
Not really roles, because initially the role would be quite different. Because here in ApprovalMax, we have different set of user roles and they have different set of permissions. We will bring these users and we will assign them the default role called the member. But then you can decide if certain users should have a bit maybe higher role, if they should have access to billing, if they should be able to add more clients on board in ApprovalMax. So you're in control over who can see what and what type of things, what type of actions available for these users. All right, so let's maybe quickly take a look on QBO. So I believe maybe a lot of people in the audience might be interested to see how would it look like in QBO. And you'd be surprised that it looks quite the same. They have maybe a bit less workflows available in here, but at the same time, some of them are a bit different. So for example, here for QBO, we do have an expense workflow, and a lot of our customers who are dealing with expense report reimbursements, they can easily add all of their employees into ApprovalMax and save money on the user licenses. They don't need to give them access to QBO. They will be able to raise all of these expense reports within ApprovalMax, including using ApprovalMax Capture. And once it's all approved, it will be automatically listed in QBO. So then you can perform the reimbursement back to the employee. All right.
Can you show in Xero or in QuickBooks what the bills look like once you send that over with the attachments?
Sure, absolutely. So let me open the bill. Let's say I've got this bill that I previously approved. Open in Xero. Just log in.
Every demo.
Every demo, yeah. And I have so many passwords in my Google Authenticator. So right now it took us directly to that bill. So we can see, first of all, you will find there is a link which will direct us back to ApprovalMax in case we want to see that over there. Also, within your attachments, you'll find that you have an original attachment, the original receipt, but also you will find the audit report available for you here. And of course, all of the line items is here, ready to be paid. So
Yeah, that's a
everything
really
is done.
smart way to attach the audit trail as a PDF because I don't think there's in Xero or in QuickBooks there's APIs to add things to the audit trail. So it's either you don't put it at all or you do it as a PDF. I think it's really smart to do an attachment like this. It's a really, really smart idea. All apps should do that actually. They should put a secondary attachment of their audit trail.
But that's actually a good point. Not only we're attaching the PDF, that is just an easy way for you to quickly grab all of these different PDFs, all of the different audit reports, and provide that maybe to your auditors, or just collect that somewhere in your shared folder. But we also send all the comments that you've made during the approval process, if you'll select that option. So you would need to select that setting. But we can also send all of these comments, all of the audit trail into your comments within Xero itself. So there is an option for us via API to send all of these different comments into Xero. So you have both the audit report as a PDF and also these different line items here showing you what was the procedure, including the comments that people actually made. So when I already start talking about our accountants or bookkeepers, when we're talking about all of these companies and how do they manage organizations, what we've noticed, a lot of them actually using ApprovalMax internally. So not only our accountants and our partners would be using ApprovalMax to manage their clients, they're also using ApprovalMax a lot for internal purposes. And one of the coolest features that they found really, really useful, and it's available for both Xero and QBO and NetSuite, would be the preparation for the journal entries. So let's say for an accountancy or bookkeeping firm, we might have junior staff who need to prepare journal entries before it will be posted into Xero or in QBO. Rather than giving them access into Xero, so they will be messing around with the real-time data, they can start doing that within ApprovalMax. They will be then sending these journal entries for the review step, to the approval step. It will be seen maybe by the senior staff who would make some changes whenever these changes are needed to be made. And only then you will be posting these journal entries into Xero. Either as
so you're expanding beyond bills and POs, like just any data entry that has to happen in the accounting system via, let's say, a journal entry, you're becoming part of that approval process.
Correct. Not only that, so let's say also if we want to support or start creating new vendors. So you might be working with a new supplier, and that's actually one of the use cases we see a lot from some of the customers. They would just randomly create a new supplier whenever they think it's needed, and they would be in a situation they have many duplicates, or especially if they're using some third-party solutions, they would just automatically create these new supplier, even if there is a difference in just one letter. We are preventing that with these workflows. So in case you want to add a new supplier into your Xero or in QBO or NetSuite file, we have a workflow where you would first start that process, where you provide all the necessary details, let's say all the sales details, tax details, provide a contract. Then you would submit it for approval. And only once it will be approved by all the relevant people, only then this new supplier will be created in Xero or in QBO or in NetSuite. And we will also provide the audit report on top of that as well. So you would know exactly what is going on for each and every step of the process. So we can say that the full procure to pay process is fully handled from data extraction, from creation of the new supplier, from, let's say, raising a purchase order, converting the PO into the bill, matching those things together, then sending that all into the approval cycle, submitting that into the GL. So we can cover you on many different things, many different layers of that process. And even further than that, if you are on the premium plan, sometimes you might want to approve or create a process for something that shouldn't be going into Xero. Let's say maybe travel requests or maybe legal contract approvals that not necessarily need to be in Xero, but you still want to have an approval process for that. And a lot of our customers using standalone solution for that. They would create a multi-step approval process, and actually we're doing that ourselves. When someone from ApprovalMax is going on a business conference, we are using our standalone solution, our standalone workflows, to create a travel request. It will go through the approval cycle, and if everything is done in terms of the hotel, in terms of the airplane tickets, then this request will be approved, and you know that you can now fly over to the business conference.
Yeah, this concept of like doing approvals for non-AP workflows is really interesting to me, because one of the big issues of having AI do things for us now is you have to approve. And I was thinking about that earlier today. I was like, we're going to spend all our time approving stuff. But this is an opportunity for ApprovalMax to be the middleman on, like, hey, every night the AI agent creates all these transactions for QuickBooks, whatever it's doing, or for Xero, but maybe it all has to go through ApprovalMax first so I can approve it before it gets into the GL. That's it's really interesting to think about it that way, where you become an approval for everything, not just AP workflows and AR workflows. It's a really interesting concept. So we have a question from somebody in the audience here. Andrew is asking if ApprovalMax can handle budgets and approvals on a project basis in QBO. Did you want to jump into the budgets a little bit?
Sure, absolutely. That's actually a very relevant question. And yes, in short, yes, you definitely can. A lot of our customers who are in construction industry, they do exactly that. They work with different projects. They will be managing different projects as customer in QBO, and they want to keep track of what is going on. So if you will create a budget in QBO based on the project, based on your customer, within ApprovalMax, you will just pull it all. And then when you're making your approvals, it will automatically pop up that for your project manager, when they are making these approvals, what is the budget? What is the impact of the bill that they're approving right now? So you can clearly see in real time how does your budget being spent.
Actually, I think you stopped screen sharing on accident. You might have to reshare your browser window.
Correct. Yeah, just a second. All right, should be able to see my screen now.
Yep.
All right, perfect. So within your QBO account, within the main menu, if you'll scroll all the way down to the bottom of the screen, you will find there is a budget checking. So the only thing we need to do when you're creating your account, when you're starting your trial, if you have these budgets in QBO, in ApprovalMax is just one single click of a button. You click on pull the budgets from QBO, and then you will see all of the budgets that you have in your ApprovalMax account, in your QBO account. Then you just select which ones you would like to activate, because maybe you don't want to activate some old budgets. You just want to keep track over some specific budgets. That's something for you to decide. You can decide how much into the future you would like to show the data to your users. Let's say in some certain cases, you would want to show just 1 month, but maybe if it's a long-lasting project over several years, you can decide on that as well. And once you've selected all of your budget check period settings, just click on activate the budget. Boom, it is now done. So now when you're making your approvals, let's see if I have any requests that can be shown within the budget. Let's say this bill from Klein and Sons, it's for $660. If I scroll down to the bottom of the screen, I will clearly see that budget that I had previously enabled in my budget check-in feature. It shows me for inventory, what is my remaining budget. It will show me the amount that I'm approving, and it will show me the status of that budget. So it works exactly the same across the board for Xero, QBO, or NetSuite. All right. Any additional questions?
Nothing that came in on that. I think you probably hit the bill workflow and approval workflow pretty good. I'd love to see some of the accounts receivable. You said you do quoting now?
Correct. If we look into Xero, so we do cover the whole process from creation of the quotes, from submitting that to your customer, and then converting that into the sales invoice. So the way it will look like, just like any other workflow, so something that I've mentioned at the very beginning, the beauty of ApprovalMax that no matter which workflow you're looking at, it will all look the same. You have your left-hand side where you're creating your quotes. So you can add any number of your requesters, and you can limit your users to specific things. Let's say I can only create quotes with an account code that matches maybe direct expenses and advertising and marketing, but our CFO can use any account code. However, he can only raise quotes for the South region. Then the next step would be the review step. In certain cases, our employees might not know exactly which account code they should be using. So they would maybe just select some random account code. That's all fine, because they can submit this for approval and it will go to the review stage, where the reviewers will be able to see what is going on. They will be able to change it if needed. to maybe whatever account code actually should be applied to that quote or to that bill. And only then, once they would review that bill or that quote, they will submit it for approval. So now if I'll activate this workflow, we'll keep it simple. I have just one approver and one reviewer. The way it will look like for our users, if I'll try to create a new quote, you will see all the same user interface as you would expect it to from zero. You would need to select which customer you're going to work with. Let's say Abby and Wells. Provide expiry date if needed, quote number if needed, reference number if needed. If you have any branding themes created in your Zero account, you can also select these branding themes. So we're taking that directly from Zero. And then just provide details about the line items. So let's say I'm going to purchase, I don't know, a new laptop, or I want to sell a new laptop. So quantity 1 for £1,000. And let's say account code will be direct expenses. As you can see, I don't have access to all of my account codes. I only have access to the ones that I've allowed myself to see. And let's say it's going to be to the North region. Of course, in case you would need that, you can provide terms, you can provide some additional attachments. And the main part would be that if you'll tick that toggle, you can automatically send an email to your customer once this quote is approved internally.
Okay, so I create a quote or proposal for a customer quote. There's an approval process internally before the customer ever gets it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Got it.
Absolutely. We definitely don't want to spam our customer with some random quotes if they've never been approved internally. So if I'm just a sales manager, I first probably would need to receive an approval from my superior manager, so they would see if the discount that I want to propose to that customer is actually make sense.
So then the customer gets the quote, and then does the customer accept it and that tie back to ApprovalMax, or is that a whole separate unrelated process?
So the way it will look like from the customer perspective, once this quote is approved, it is automatically sending like a link to the portal to our customer. So then they will see the actual quote. They will see, and they would need to provide details about who they are, what is their title, and they would need to click on approve. And it will automatically send the request back into ApprovalMax. So whoever raised that quote will receive notification from the customer that, hey, it's been either approved or it's been rejected. So you would see that it's been approved by the customer. From that point, you will be able to just take that quote and copy that into the sales invoice. It looks like my internet connection is getting slow for some reason. It's not showing. Is it not showing for you as well?
There it is.
Kind of stuck. All right. Yeah. Looks like it's a little bit stuck over there. So yeah. So now this code is on review stage where my reviewer, it's never been sent to anyone just yet. It's just been sent to the reviewer internally. If I'm happy with the quote, if I don't need to change anything, I will go ahead and just submit it for approval. Again, at that stage, it will all remain internally just for the people who need to see that from our team. I can make my reviews process either via mobile, I can approve it from here, or via Slack integration, or via email notification, whatever you prefer. But once I will fully approve this quote, it is now will be sent to our customer. So then they would need to make an approval of that quote before I will be able to copy that into the sales invoice. So all of this step of the process will be fully documented, so you would see what is going on step by step.
So can you show what the customer receives?
I hope so. I think I've sent it over to myself. Let me see. Haven't received any notifications just yet. Right. Looks like something is wrong with my connection.
Well, that's loading. I just want to summarize. So really, in a way, like ApprovalMax is this tool now that I can use to approve anything, any workflows. Once my business becomes complicated enough where I can't keep track as the business owner of what's happening in my company, every process that needs an approval kind of can be pushed through ApprovalMax now. Not just financial things, if I'm understanding correctly either.
That is correct. Yeah. One of the examples that we received recently, I've actually been interviewing some of our customers who've been with us first with Zero, and then they've migrated over to NetSuite. So I've been talking to them, what was their pain point and how ApprovalMax allowed them to solve that pain point. So they told me a story when they receive quite a lot, some fraudulent bills. And they usually can see that this one is just a scammer bill and they will just reject it straight away. But this one time they received a bill that looks very, very sophisticated. There is no indication about that it's not a real bill. But the thing that they're doing on every single bill doesn't matter if it's for $1, if it's for $1 billion, they will all be flowing through ApprovalMax through the approval workflow. So what happened? They've sent this bill that supposedly been from the CEO through the approval cycle, and eventually it came to the CEO, who was like, well, it's never been me who raised that bill in the first place. So of course they rejected that, and they've instantly saved $60,000 just because they have these internal policies that everything, no matter what, should be going through the approval process within ApprovalMax. And that's not the only situation, not the only time I've heard such stories. It's been many, many, many times that when the companies start thinking about their processes, if they want to keep control of what is going on, where the money goes out, they would be adding these financial controls in place.
So hopefully that email showed up by now, maybe.
Yes, actually it did. So good point. So let me share my screen. All right. So the way it will look like for me, from the person, maybe let me zoom in a little bit so you could see that straight away. Hi, I've been Wells. Thank you for your inquiry. Please find attached a quote. So I will find there is a link which will take me to the ApprovalMax, to the customer portal, where I will see the quote. So in my case, I'm looking at the laptop. I can see what I would need to approve. So let's say I'm going to use myself, Alex Keselman. Let's say I'm the CEO now, and the company, amazing company. And of course, you can also provide a comment. Once I'll accept that, so it's now fully accepted, it will be automatically sent back into ApprovalMax. So hopefully, I will be able to see that within my ApprovalMax account. As you can see now, it's now being fully accepted. So now I can go ahead and convert that into the sales invoice. So from the both internal policies and from internal team and the external team, from the customer perspective, it's all works seamlessly. Once it is approved internally, instantly it goes to the customer. Once they will accept that, they would retrieve the notification about it back into ApprovalMax. So then they can go ahead and move forward with that sales order.
Got it. So I can use ApprovalMax for, basically I've eliminated bill capture, bill pay products. I've eliminated some AR products. I've eliminated a quote to proposal to contract product. I guess the next question is, can I pay bills through ApprovalMax? Can I get paid through ApprovalMax? Like the money itself, where does that fall?
Yeah, great question. So if you are a UK customer, you can already do that. We do have a product called ApprovalMax Pay, and we actually covering two products at the same time. One is the via open banking technology. So you can just use your existing bank account, just connect that to ApprovalMax and execute payments using that. Or you can create a bank account within ApprovalMax. So you can pay in any currency you need to your international vendors, to your suppliers globally on the local rails. It's very, very easy. But it's currently available only for our UK customers, only for the customers who are using Zero. Next year, 2026, we are aiming to provide the same service for our QuickBooks Online customers in the US. So it's just a matter of a few months for us, or for you, if you're very interested in trying it out, subscribe to our newsletter, and very soon it will be available for our US customers as well. But yeah, if you're in the UK, if you want to give it a try, feel free to contact either myself or someone from our team. We'd be more than happy to show you, because it works as magic, especially if we're talking about the full money out situation. Either we're talking about paying for our bills, or if we're talking about our employees who will be raising expense reports and would need to reimburse them back, you can easily do that without going anywhere. It just takes a click away. On top of that, actually, maybe you've seen before. I think I do have it somewhere in
So
here.
I can use ApprovalMax for expense reporting too.
Correct. Yeah. For QBO, it's already available there. For Zero customers, we have now added an expense workflow. It is currently under private beta. So if you want to give it a try, you can join that beta. Very soon it will be available for the general audience. But with that workflow, a customer or an employee can raise an expense report. And once it is approved, you will see that there is a button Pay with ApprovalMax. So you can create a batch payments straight away from the platform and straight away reimburse that money back to the employee.
And that makes sense because an expense report is kind of like a bill from your employee that you have to pay. So it makes sense that you would be
Exactly.
part of that workflow.
On top of that, if you're using corporate credit cards, we can also support that. So you can just assign specific bank account that is taken from your Zero file to your employee. And if they've made any purchase using that corporate credit card, when they're making the expense report request, they would select which bank account they've used, which credit card they've used, and it will automatically create the spend money transaction once it is approved.
Hey, Blake, is there any other approval workflows you had ever used with your clients? So you have AP approvals, expense report approvals, invoice, contract, quote type of approvals. What other approvals did you ever come across that clients need?
That's an interesting question because I've seen some of the weird examples, especially when it comes to the standalone workflows. We had a customer, I think they're still with us, who are on Sage. And since we do not integrate with Sage directly, they kind of wanted to mimic the processes over there. So they built a standalone workflow within ApprovalMax. They've added different account codes. They've added many approval steps. They've added all of their users into ApprovalMax, and they've been raising all of these different requests within the standalone, making all of their approvals. And upon the final approval, they would just download these audit reports. Then they would go into Sage, they would create a transaction, and they would attach that audit report from ApprovalMax, providing a proof that, hey, it is now being approved back in ApprovalMax, but it's just not connected directly with Sage. So that's one example of what I've seen with some of our customers. But of course, there are so many other different examples how we can use that. So basically, let's say with the standalone workflows, there are limitless capabilities in terms of what type of workflow you can build for your internal processes, travel requests, legal contracts, something, you name it.
So, Alex, is there anything else that you probably need to tell us about or show us? If not, we'd like to understand a little bit more about your accountants program and possibly, how much it costs. We'd like to get into some of that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So our pricing is available on our website. There is no secret behind that. You can always take a look at ApprovalMax.com/pricing. Maybe I could even show that to you. Pricing. Doesn't matter if we're looking at the QuickBooks Online or Zero, it's all the same. We're looking at the number of your entities. So if you have one QBO or one Zero entity, we're looking at 43.71 or 96 pounds. Let me actually change that to USD dollars. It will be a bit easier. So it's $59.95 or $133 a month. No limitation on the number of users, no limitation on the number of requests that you will be processing. So then you just need to decide which plan is suitable for you. Standard plan will already give you majority or the core product with all the major workflows. But if you require a bit more advanced capabilities, let's say like budget checking or three-way matching, good received notes, then you will be looking at advanced plan. If you need access to our public API, maybe for the reporting capabilities, you will be looking at the premium plan, where you will also find our standalone solution and our premium support. In case you want to save some money, you can always go with an annual billing. It will give you 17% discount. On top of that, we really love non-for-profits. So if you're a non-for-profit, you can claim your 20% discount on top of that. And also, if you're working with many businesses or if you are multi-entity business yourself, we also have volume discount starting from the 5 organizations. For the accountancy and bookkeeping practices, we have our free partner program, which gives quite a lot of benefits. So you can find a lot of information under our website for accountants and bookkeepers. But briefly, what benefits you will receive once you become a partner. First of all, starting from, I think, when you're adding 3 or 5 organizations under your partner account, you will receive 1 free license for yourself for your own internal financial controls. You will find there is a training and certifications that we're going. It's also free of charge, and that will just allow you to become very knowledgeable in the product. So you would serve your clients the best. You would know the way platform works. You would know how to build workflows efficiently. You would know how it's all being operated. You will have your dedicated support manager, and that will be like a premium support. So in case you need to have a phone call with our support manager, in case you need to resolve things super quickly, though our support team is very, very fast anyway, you all have that within our partner program. And many, many additional things like practice staff, like our referral program, like our joint marketing opportunities, you name it.
And what are the hours of the phone support?
Sure. Well, our support team works 24 hours, 5 days a week. Therefore, if you're in Australia or if you're in, California, San Francisco, it doesn't matter. You will find someone from our team who will support you with any technical matters.
That's great.
But on top of that, even if you don't like talking to actual people, if you want maybe to, just like me, you want to dig into things yourself, into technology yourself, we're providing you with so many additional supporting materials, like our weekly product webinars, where I am explaining and my colleague Justin explaining how the product works on a very high level, on a very high level, so we can just see how quickly we can build the workflows, how we can start using ApprovalMax, that type of things. We have our knowledge base, which constantly being updated. We're adding lots of videos and how-to videos on our YouTube channel. So there are multiple resources you can utilize for your benefit in case you want to learn the way ApprovalMax works, how you can build these workflows. All of that is available for you free of charge.
Great. This is great. It's learned a lot. I didn't know ApprovalMax could be used for all these things that were not AP workflows. So hopefully a lot of the audience finds that enlightening as well. Blake, did you have anything else to close out on this?
I just want to thank, excuse me. I just want to thank everyone for coming today. Stay tuned for a quick message about how to earn CPE. Bye, everyone. Today's event has ended. To earn CPE, go to earmark.app or scan the QR code on the screen. Then log in or create your free account. Search for the course by tapping on the magnifying glass icon on the home screen and then entering the name of this event. It takes a few days to make the course, so if you're attending this event live, keep an eye out for an email letting you know when the course is available. Pass the quiz to earn your CPE, then tap the button to email yourself a certificate. Stay tuned for more events from Earmark. Thanks for joining us, and we hope to see you again soon.